what build?
Yeah, let's keep this train rolling.
Yes, let's keep it rolling. Let's get back onto, the build that you got for us. Last few weeks, you've been doing Mo's builds for us, which has been kind of fun, putting those together. And you kind of introduced this one a little bit, but let's talk build now. Let's go. Let's do this.
Let's talk build. Yeah. So again, Z Karma, you can look him up on Twitch and YouTube. He has a build called Karmageddon Mo's. And what it's basically looking at is the root. The root, if you've never shot the root, it's a sniper rifle, Maliwan. It shoots rounds out and they look like a swarm of bees. And they're ricocheting. And when they ricochet, they do splash damage. And there's a skill in the skill tree on the red tree called Indiscriminate that ups the ricochet damage. And so Amara's bullets that damage enemies have a chance to ricochet and deal decreased damage to other nearby enemies. Ricochet chance and damage are increased if the target is currently affected by phase grasp or stillness of mind. Great. Okay. So ricochet chance 30%, ricochet damage minus 50, action skill ricochet chance 60, and blah, 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 blah. There it is. So.
Blah, blah, blah. Just skipping down everything. Blah. I gotcha. Just blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the skill. It's using that skill. Well, somehow that skill with the root is like dipping. It's either dipping or double dipping or triple dipping. I don't know. Into action skill damage and or Mayhem 10 scaling damage. And because it is splash damage, it deals area of effect damage. Now, normally everybody on Amaro is going to run a Pearl, but I'm not running a Pearl. I am running
and they run a Pearl because Amaro is one of the few Vault Hunters that can keep it proc pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. She keeps it proc pretty good. Now, in his build, he's running a Elemental Projector Victory Rush, and he's letting the radiation damage hit him and dot him, and then reprojecting it through the Elemental Projector. I found I was not always dotting myself. I wasn't always getting the dot. It was inconsistent, so I wasn't always getting the damage boost from the Elemental Projector. In theory, if you could always dot yourself, and again, he might have been running a driver comm, which would allow himself to dot himself, because that's what the driver does. It damages you, and the faster you move, you do more gun damage, but the downside is when you use your action skill, you dot yourself with damage over time damage.
Okay.
I was getting dotted, but only every once in a while, and so what he was doing to combat being dotted by radiation was wearing a red suit shield, which basically is kind of like the Transformer but for radiation, except for that it doesn't convert the damage into your shield. You're just immune to any radiation damage you take. So I have one. I mean, I ran the build exactly as he had it. You can see here I have my Elemental Projector Victory Rush with AoE damage. I have my red suit. What I discovered about this was, one, I wasn't dotting myself all the time. And two, old gods, then this is why I say when I took this build and I started tweaking with it, one, I tweaked the skill tree a little bit, but two, you used to, when you would run driver during all the way up through whatever it was when we went from Mayhem 4 to Mayhem 10, that patch, you had to run a Transformer basically with driver, because when you dotted yourself, you would kill yourself almost instantly, right? And then the old god came out. Then
which is not fun. Killing yourself, it's not fun.
It's not fun. When the old god came out, it reduces the incoming elemental damage if it's matched to the element that would be dotting you by enough that it really doesn't kill you. It gives you time to react to it, and it's not the type of thing where you're always insta-downing yourself with it. So I thought, well, what if instead of the Victory Rush, the Elemental Projector Victory Rush, since I'm not consistently getting the dot and applying it and being able to project it, what if I switched out that red suit for a Radiation Old God, which is going to give me a grand total of about 40% resistance to radiation. And I switch it out for an Atom Bomb Auto Idol, which will give me a little more survivability with the health on kill, but also give me the aura damage, the aura burst damage, and the aura burst radius from the radiation. Of course, on any artifact, you have to have AoE damage. And that was the thing that was missing when I was running a Pearl and running the Root, right? The Root would do damage, ton of damage with Amara, but it wasn't ridiculous. So you're going to see in here basically what I'm running, and I'll show you my skill tree here for a second. I'm going all the way down the blue tree, picking up Do Harm, to get the rush stacks for action skill damage. I'm getting the critical hit damage here from Transcend. I'm getting the status effect chance coming out of Violent Tapestry. I'm getting my action skill backed right away from Restless. Ascendant is just increasing all those values. I'm getting Laid Bare, where I'm allowing enemies to take additional damage once they've been damaged by my action skill. That benefits the group. Wrath is bonus gun damage. Awakening to give the rush stacks increased effectiveness. The Remnant Orb, which of course, even with 1 out of 3 into that, is enough to kill just about anything in the game if it gets hit by the Remnant Orb. And then I have Avatar so that I can use my action skill twice. I've got Anima for the DOT damage, the dot damage, Steady Hands. Tempest for bonus elemental damage and shock damage. 1 into Wildfire to help it spread from enemy to enemy. Gun damage is increased after I grasp. Indiscriminate's maxed out. I need as much ricochet as I can get out of this thing, and this is what's going to make this build really, really, really scream. Deep Well to get a little bit more mag.
Are we looking forward to more PowerPoint gaming, or?
No. And I'll explain all that in a second.
Okay.
Catharsis. Here, I just did this to get down the tree. Sustainment gives me some lifesteal. You can see the amount of lifesteal I'm getting between that auto idol and this. I'm trying to get a bunch of lifesteal back, keep myself alive. Again, bonus elemental damage here from Forceful Expression. Upped my health a little bit with Root to Rise. Personal Space gives me bonus damage based on the distance. Now, we are going to play back, so I'm not going to get a lot out of this, but I think the minimum you get out of this is like 8 or 9%. Even if you're like a mile away. So it's still worth it. And then Arms Deal, which is going to give me a little bit more splash damage, but it's also going to give me splash damage reduction, which again is also going to be the key to that sustainment and not running that red suit. You may remember.
That was blue and green. What did you show the orange tree as well?
I showed them all. I showed all the trees.
Just double check. Yeah. Just making sure.
I did. And I know I went through them quick, but they're very standard. This gun is the Recursion. That used to cause PowerPoint gaming. They did just buff this, and it is viable again on only Amara, basically.
Yes, they went from 5 to 7 projectiles.
7, yep. I do use that in this build, but that's not what I'm going to show you.
Okay.
You may remember with that, we used to struggle with PowerPoint gaming.
Mind Eraser, so you must be using something else other than the...
We're using the Root. We're using the Root. You may remember PowerPoint gaming. You would come into a room, you'd start firing the Recursion. It would take a few, maybe 5, 6 shots to build up, and then all of a sudden it would go into PowerPoint mode, and then all of a sudden everything would fall dead. This is going to be exactly the same experience, except for no PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to take 5 or 6 shots. I'm going to take 1 or 2 shots, and everything's going to fall dead.
All right.
Everything is going to fall dead. So we're going to go to our favorite test spot down here, and we're going to do that. We're going to make everything go goodbye.
All right.
But I'm going to run in here, right? And I'm going to get everybody out that I can, because I want as many enemies out as possible. And I'm going to grasp that Nog. And I'm going to start shooting.
Damn. The hell? Pardon my language.
And you'll notice I like jump back and out of the way, right? Because if those root blasts come back at me, they will drop me. It can be very unpleasant if you get hit by it. If you play smart, that doesn't happen.
God, you're lighting up the sky back here. Maybe not have to worry about PowerPoint, but seizures or something on the lava. Good job, dude. That is crazy. And what's creating the massive explosions? Which part of the tree
AOE? The AOE on the artifact is causing that.
Oh, okay.
So those are hitting each other and causing area of effect damage. The splash damage is causing AOE.
Dang, okay. It's almost wasting a bullet just to shoot one guy.
I know, right? So that's that. Beautiful, right?
That's
hilarious.
Insane fast. Yes. That's insane fast with mobbing right there.